Two close wins and a blowout loss later, the Mariners have picked up right where they left off. Colby and I are going to give you our takeaways from each game. Plus, we finally get to talk about JP Crawford's extension right now on Locked On Mariners.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is Monday, April 11th, 2022, and this is the Locked On Mariners podcast brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered all season long with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all platforms. I am your host, Ty and Gonzalez, joined as always by my co-host, Colby Patnode. Be sure to follow the show on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez, that's DANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, that's CPAT11. Be sure to also check out our Patreon, where we talk about the Mariners even more, and also get into some non-baseball talk twice a week. Visit patreon.com/Control Zone for more information on that. We have a new episode dropping for our tier 2s and 3s later on today. Be sure to check that out. And if this is your first time joining us here on Locked On Mariners, welcome to the show. If you like what you hear, give us a follow or subscribe wherever you listen to this. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and tell your friends to come check us out. We greatly appreciate it. Before we get into today's topics, I want to announce the winner of our giveaway, our 2-ticket, main level ticket giveaway to Sunday's game between the Mariners and Astros. Easter Sunday should be a lot of fun at T-Mobile Park. The winner of our contest is Quentin Johnson at QuentinJohnson91 on Twitter. Congratulations on winning your 2 main level tickets to see the Mariners battle the Astros this Sunday. I'll be DMing you shortly on Twitter to set all of that stuff up. Gonna also make an announcement on Twitter for those that have not watched the show in a little bit. But congratulations, Quentin, and thank you to all who entered. We greatly appreciate your support and appreciate you subscribing and all that stuff, and hope you stick around to follow us along all season, and we're probably going to be doing more giveaways, so be sure to stay tuned to our channels. All right, so Colby, the Mariners actually played real baseball this past weekend. Opened up the season on Friday after Thursday was rained out. Robbie Ray took the bump. Not a great start for Robbie Ray coming off of his AL Cy Young Award winning season, but he got through it, allowing just 1 run. He struck out 5, did walk 4, along with a hitter hit. But what did you see from Ray in his first start in a Mariners uni?
Yeah, you saw kind of what felt like a lot of the issues that had plagued Ray in the past. A lot of 3-ball counts, a lot of walks relative to what he did last year. Surprisingly, not many strikeouts. That's always been part of his thing, even with the walks, is that he'll strike guys out. But and I know some people were concerned because the velocity was down a little bit from where it was last year. We could go over all the reasons why the velocity might be down. Shortened spring training. It was, not exactly the picture perfect day in Minnesota. Blah, blah, blah. We could do all that. But at the end of the day, what Robbie Ray is he looked like a number 1 who didn't have his good stuff. So he battled and he fought his way through a very good lineup. Allowing just the 1 run on the solo home run to Gio Urshela. He did really well considering the stuff he had. He only got 2 runs. He had to make that last, and for the most part, he did. He had to work around a couple of sticky situations to get it done, but that's exactly what he did. And he was the winner as a result. You're going to see better days from Robbie Ray, that's for sure. But again, the ability for his first time out to go out there. Get through 7 on less than 100 pitches, kind of work around some issues. It's not like his mechanics flew out of whack or anything either. He was just a little bit off. A lot of 3-ball counts, still threw a lot of strikes, but the 4 walks is not ideal for Robbie Ray, but it's not the end of the world because when he needed strikeouts, he was able to get them. And he got a couple of clutch double play balls, which is not something Robbie's really known for. He's more of a fly ball strikeout type of pitcher, but he got 2 big ones when he needed them. And yeah, he kind of sort of abused Alex Kirilloff in the 6-hole. He was able to be very cautious to 3, 4, 5 because Kirilloff had no shot. And Kirilloff's a good player, a good prospect, still a young guy, but he didn't have a prayer against Robbie Ray, and he was able to take advantage of that. So Ray knew where he was at in the lineup. He knew who to be careful with, who to attack. And as a result, he kind of gritted his way through 7 pretty good innings. But it wasn't what we were hoping, but the end result was still very good.
Well, and that's what great pitchers do, right? Even if they don't have their best stuff, they're still going to be able to get through it. And this was I would say, a pretty bad start by Robbie Ray's standards, and he still went 7 strong with just 1 earned run against, like you said, a good lineup. And a lot of that was helped out by a pair of really clutch strikeouts of Byron Buxton with runners in scoring position. It was huge. There was a couple times that Buxton came up, and he was able to get him both times. So that was massive for Ray to not only get through those innings, to get through those tough times, but to also extend his start and limit what the bullpen had to take on day 1. And then they end up going Seawald to face the top of the order, and no problems there. And then second rider, a little fun towards the end there. Gary Sanchez, about a few feet off from a game winner, ends up going right into the glove of Jesse Winker at the wall. Mitch Haniger had the only score for the Mariners in this game. 2-run home run in the first inning. That's all they got. Runners in scoring position was kind of the story of the game here for the Mariners.
Story of the weekend,
bats.
really.
Yeah, 0 for 8. Runners in scoring position. 10 left on base for the Mariners. Not great. And then that continued a little bit into the next game. They did score 4 runs in the next game. And Tom Murphy had continued his little late spring, early season tear that he's been on. The catchers have been really good in this series. It feels like the series should be over. By the way, it's weird that there's a 4th game on a Monday. That's
very weird.
It's really messing me up. It feels like this series is already over and done with. But Murphy with the home run. Let's look at the runners in scoring position. They were 3 for 10, so not as bad, but still not great. Not going to get the job done.
A lot of that came in the ninth in the ninth.
Yeah,
a couple.
Julio
2
Rodriguez
runners in base. Yep,
Julio Rodriguez getting his first career MLB hit in a huge spot to start the rally. They were down 3-2. Byron Buxton looked like he absolutely snatched the souls of the Mariners. He was hyped. The crowd erupted. It was a moment. And for the Mariners, the next half inning to respond in the way that they did, I mean, it's kind of vintage 2021 Mariners. It seems like they pretty much picked up right where they left off here. Adam Frazier ties the game up. Frazier and Julio continue to be an absolute tandem for the Mariners here, and then Ty France, who's had a great series, gets the game winner, and Diego Castillo shuts it down in the bottom of the ninth, as you would expect. That guy is healthy now, and he looks awesome. What were your takeaways from this game, particularly with Logan Gilbert, by the way, who you love, and made a mistake to Luis Ariz, but got through it the rest of the way and only gave up the 1 run.
Yeah, it's nice to see people on Twitter understand just how good of a hitter Luis Ariz actually is. Some of us have known that for a while, but that's a different conversation. Logan really struggled through the first 2. It looked a lot like what we saw last year when Logan was off. It was just, the fastball, he can't keep hammering with the fastball. It's eventually it's going to get hit, and he's able to kind of work around a few issues here and there. It was a struggle for the first 2 innings. Then the last 3 innings, it was probably the best we've ever seen Logan Gilbert. He got 10 outs on, I think, 34 pitches there, along with 4 strikeouts.
What was it? At one point, they retired like 15 in a row, 12 in a row, something like that?
Yes. I think until Munoz walked the 9-hole hitter before the home run. They had retired everybody since the start of the 3rd inning. So, so Gilbert was fantastic, particularly the second half. 14 whiffs from Gilbert on 85 pitches. And here's probably the more encouraging thing from his start. Yes, the fastball was still pretty good. It was up in the zone, right where he likes to throw it. Hit 97 a couple times. Velocity was fine. 6 whiffs on 52 fastballs, but the beauty is 5 whiffs on 19 sliders, 1 whiff on on 8 knuckle curves, and actually 2 whiffs on 6 changeups. He didn't use the changeup often, but when he did, it was very good. The one to Jorge Polanco comes to mind in his last inning. So, yeah, Gilbert, he threw strikes after the second inning. Innings 3, 4, and 5, he looked like a potential Cy Young Award winner going up against, again, a very good lineup. The Twins lineup is not getting the credit it deserves. It's deep and it's good. So
it's really good. Scary as hell. A lot of power in that lineup.
Max Kepler's hitting 9th, like deservedly so. Like that's a pretty good lineup. Gilbert made them look foolish at times. So it was a great start for Logan. Just imagine what he could do if he can carry that innings 3, 4, 5 over the course of an entire game. We kind of saw it last year against like the Yankees and the Red Sox a few times. Like Gilbert's going to be very good, and this was a very good start to his year.
So the Mariners unfortunately lost yesterday. Not going to get the 4-game sweep, but they are going for the series win tonight in Minneapolis. We're going to be talking about the loss yesterday and then what to expect tonight in just a moment. But real quick, a reminder, this episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. You're listening to Locked On Mariners. Thank you again for making us your first listen of the day, just like you do here every day. And just a reminder to check out Locked On MLB Prospects. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts, just like us. So, as I said earlier, Byron Buxton seemed to have snatched the Mariners' souls on Saturday. He ended up doing so on Sunday. A couple home runs for him, 6 runs for the Twins to start this game off. Marco Gonzalez was not great, to put it lightly, in this one. Just 2 innings pitched for Marco, and he was catching a lot of plate with some pretty ordinary stuff. That's not going to play for him. Just can't do it. What did you see from Marco? What went wrong? And what are your overall thoughts on yesterday's loss? 10-4.
Yeah. Marco, I mean, there's really no nice way to say it. He really, really struggled. He only generated 3 whiffs on 60 pitches, all of them coming on his cutter. He was just in the middle of the zone, and when he was missing outside of the zone, it was up, like way up. Like you're not getting swings and misses outside of the zone with your stuff pitching up. Marco's not going to get that. He needs to, if he's pitching out of the zone, it needs to be on the fringes and down. But yeah, everything was just up and elevated for him. He only technically gave up, I think, 2 earned because every run that scores after the Frazier error is technically not Marco's fault. But, this is one of those cases where ERA doesn't tell the whole story, because even if Frazier makes that play, maybe it's a different game. But Marco was not going to survive more than another inning or 2. No. He everything was just bad. Like there's just no real positive to take away from this from Marco. He was terrible. Will he be again? I don't know. Probably at some point. Is it cause for concern for Mariners fans? It shouldn't be. Nothing that happened this weekend should scare Mariners fans. It's 3 games. Now we could look at it and say, well, Kelnick got his first hit and it was literally an infield fly that just fell between 4 guys. But other than that, he hasn't looked too good. Blah blah blah. Julio's striking out. Blah. Like we could doom and gloom our way through 3 games, but it's 3 games. It literally means nothing. For me, I'm not even thinking about is this a real struggle? Like, does something have to happen? I'm not thinking about that until at least May 1.
Well, and Colby, in the years that Marco has been great, he's had a month or 2 where he's still struggled like this, where he has 3 or 4 straight starts where he looks like this. I mean, I think about what was it, 2019, where he had that really awful start against Chicago, and
the
it was
Cubs
like
and the Angels.
it was July or August, somewhere in there, and that kind of plummeted his value for the rest of the season.
Right.
But he was great the rest of the year outside of that 1 month. So maybe this is just the month that he struggles, or maybe it's an outlier. Who knows? The point is, I'm not going to overreact about what Marco did or wasn't able to do on Sunday.
No, it's a bad start, and you just kind of move on. And then, the unfortunate thing, the Mariners have to expose the front line of their bullpen, the guys who are kind of, have to bridge the gap to get to the back end guys. And you can see the vulnerabilities there. But, aside from the absolute mammoth home runs the Twins were hitting, we actually saw some pretty good stuff. Festus showed off a slider that was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I thought Swanson looked okay. Sheffield was, like it's
he had
fine,
one good back foot slider. I think it was to Correa.
Yeah.
But
by the way, just a side note here, the Mariners have handled Correa quite well this series.
Mammoth home run. Yeah, he hit that absolute tank.
Right, but it kind of in garbage time against the ninth best guy in the pen, blah blah blah. But aside from that, just one hit so far this series. Now Correa's made up for that by stealing at least 2 or 3 runs from Seattle. So he still played a huge role in this. But I thought the stuff coming out of the bullpen at least was pretty good. Location. Not always, but again, that's why you really need your starters to go 5-6 innings, so you can kind of line up your Romo, Steckenrider, Castillo, Sewald, that group of guys. And hey, you know what? Underappreciated hero of the weekend, let's say, Anthony Mashevitz looked pretty good. In his outing.
Yeah, he had a
good curveball.
He had a really good inning on Saturday.
Yeah, against the top of the order.
Yeah, the curveball. He went after Buxton, Correa. Who else? Who else did he get? Polanco, right? Yeah. And he struck out Polanco as well.
Might have been a rise.
I think it might have been Polanco. Yeah, because he got him on the curveball on the outside corner. That was nice.
Whatever it was.
That was nice.
Yeah.
He looked really good. That was nice to see, because that was very concerning for me, seeing them put Mashevitz in against the top of the order. That's concerning.
Yeah.
Very concerning.
Yeah.
All right. So most people that are watching this are probably watching this after, or listening to this after tonight's game. So we won't linger on this too long, but what would you like to see tonight from Chris Flexen and everyone?
Innings. Give me some innings, Chris. Give me 5 or 6, please. Good news is Steckenrider and Sewald are definitely going to be available and ready to go. And so should Castillo, should be ready to go. I imagine Romo is also ready to go. So if you can get through 5 or 6, you can kind of line it up the way you want to line it up. Munoz should be ready to go. And Munoz looked pretty good, aside from, the home run that maybe hasn't landed yet. But that was 101 at the top of the zone, and Buxton just destroyed it. So
I had this weird feeling too. I was like, man, putting in Munoz against the top of the order with those guys and that bat speed at the top of the lineup, it's like the bat speed there. It's just, ooh, that's going to catch up.
Yeah, I caught some flack for this on Twitter, but I thought that Munoz should have been in the 7th, and they should have used Romo in the 8th, just because Romo's been there. He's done that, and
he generates weak contact.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of when you need it. And he's going to throw strikes. Like, I like Munoz a lot. Great arm. He walked the guy before he gave up the bomb, right? Like, those guys have to earn their way on base. And Buxton certainly did. Kepler, I believe it was, did not. So you got to Nick Gordon. Okay. You got to force those guys to earn their way on base. You can't just give it to them in those late games. But the bullpen's in good shape. So if Chris can go 5 or 6, keep this, 2, 3, 4 runs, like keep it within striking distance for the Mariners offense. Hopefully Duran is not working in the bullpen.
Johan Duran, my word. Some of the nastiest stuff I've ever seen in those 2 innings that he threw against the Mariners on Friday. Oh my.
A split finger sinker? Yeah, like come on. Like
that was nuts. That was absolutely putrid.
Nothing drives me nuts more than when runners are on second and third with nobody out and the team can't even put the ball in play. Like that infuriates me as much as anything in baseball can for like hours. And I was like, wow, those are really bad at bats. But also, I can't even really be that mad. Like, holy cow, that stuff is insane.
I was like kind of half paying attention when Mitch was up to bat. It was second and third, no one out. And I was pretty irritated with Mitch not striking out. But then I started to notice more how Duran was throwing and what kind of stuff he was throwing. And I was like, you know what? I'm not upset about it anymore. This guy is just stupid good.
Maybe try the safety squeeze next time. I don't know. Like, I
Hey,
hope Jesse Winker and Adam.
the guy who says never bunt wants them to bunt.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
Not never bunt. Never sacrifice bunt. Bunt for hits. Bunt for runs. Don't sacrifice an out.
Sure.
But yeah, it's. I mean, that was ridiculous. So he should be ready to go tonight too. So fingers crossed, the Mariners don't have to see him.
Yeah,
and hey,
probably gonna have to though. Or hey, maybe they have him sized up now. Maybe they saw him once. You know, they're like that's ridiculous, and maybe now they have a better understanding. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Ty and Winker got on base, like they did fine. So like, maybe. But just get some innings from Chris, and then hey, just remember after tonight, you only have to see Buxton 3 more times, and you only have to see Duran a max of 3 more times. Same goes for Correa too, unless he gets traded in the middle of the year. But whatever. So get out of Minnesota with at least a split
to the Mariners.
Definitely possible. But these two teams seem pretty evenly matched.
I agree.
So, but getting out of Minnesota on the road to start your year with a split is pretty good. But they definitely have a shot to win tonight. We'll see what version of, I think it's Alex Cobb or Dylan Bundy.
It's Dylan Bundy.
Same guy.
Yeah, Alex Cobb is in San Francisco, but pretty much same guys. I understand the sentiment. But being 3-1 would be nice. 2-2 is fine, but 3-1 going into Chicago, and the White Sox are just so beat up right now. It's ridiculous how beat up they are right now. AJ Pollock, Andrew Vaughn, Lucas Giolito, Lance Lynn, Joe Kelly. I think there's some others that I'm missing as well. That team is in a rough spot right. Yeah, that team is in a rough spot right now. So there's an opportunity there for the Mariners. It looks like Wednesday's game is probably going to get tornadoed out. Would that be the term? But Tuesday and Thursday look pretty good.
Yeah, there is the possibility that we will have tornadoes in the Chicago area on Wednesday, because playing Midwest baseball is just a genius idea in early to mid-April. Fantastic.
The good news about yesterday, though, Festus, Swanson, Ramirez, Sheffield, they all ate the remainder of the innings. So you got Sewald, you got Castillo, you got Steckenrider, you got all these guys are going to be available to you tonight. So that should set you up nicely in case Flexen isn't able to give you those innings. But it would be nice if he could get 5 or 6 out of Chris tonight. That would help. All right, so because we recorded our opening day special on Thursday, ahead of time, we were not able to talk about JP Crawford's extension, which got announced the morning of opening day for the Mariners on Friday. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But real quick, a reminder, this episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by Built Bar. This is the time of year that I've pretty much given up on all of my New Year's resolutions, but not this year. I'm sticking to my resolution to eat right, thanks to Built Bar. And it almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. They are 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. So go to Built.com, scroll down to the macros chart. You'll be blown away. Again, high protein, low cal, high fiber, low carb, and there's so many good flavors to choose from, such as mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. They are all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time, and if they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It will be delicious, and it will be good for you. So go to Built.com, try one for yourself, try a bunch for yourself. Use promo code LOCKED15, that's LOCKED15, for 15% off your order. That's LOCKED15 for 15% off your order at Built.com. So Colby, like I said, we weren't able to talk about JP Crawford's extension. But this is something that we kind of felt like was on the horizon. It feels like there's probably going to be a few more extensions on the horizon for the Mariners this season as well. Jesse Winker, maybe Adam Frazier, maybe even Julio. We'll see. But let's talk about JP here, who gets A 5-year, $51 million extension. It buys 3 years of free agency. He was under club control this year, obviously, and next year as well. What do you think about the deal for JP and for the Mariners?
Yeah, it actually buys out 2 years of free agency.
Oh, really? Was he under club control for the next 3 years?
Yeah, JP is a Super 2. So he is
Oh.
ARB 2, but he has 4 years of ARB. He was technically a Super 2. So it buys out 2 years of free agency, 3 years of club control. So but anyway, good for JP. Let's start right there.
Yeah.
JP worked his butt off. He was kind of labeled as a failed first round pick, a failed top prospect with the Phillies. Got kind of a new lease on life when he was traded to Seattle. Found an organization that believed in him. Gave a lot of credit to D. Gordon for helping him, rediscover his love for baseball. It's one of those, hidden values that veteran players have that it's tough to quantify, but they're there. So yeah, good for JP, good for his family. I believe he just got married this winter. A couple Mariners did. I think he was one of them. So his family's now set up for life. They're in a really good spot. Good for the Mariners for locking in a young leader, locking down the shortstop position. It doesn't mean that they won't move JP Crawford to, second base if they want to go get Trey Turner or Xander Bogaerts or whatever. But they've locked down, one of the 9 spots in their lineup, and they've locked it down with a young guy who is a clubhouse leader. He's a fan favorite. So good for the Mariners for opening up the wallets and giving a deal they really didn't have to give.
Right.
If you're looking at it from just a baseball standpoint, just purely just numbers, didn't really need to give this deal to JP. Like you said, you have him for 3 years already anyways. And going year to year with him would have been totally fine. There's not a lot of upside left in the bat, and the bat is fringe average at best,
right.
Give or take 10%. It's somewhere between the 90 and the 110 WRC plus is where JP's most likely to be. There's not a lot of power waiting there. The bat speed is average, and that's typically something that gets worse as you get older. So below average bat speed turns you into a Eugenio Suarez. So and JP doesn't have the power to make up for that either. So there's a chance that the last few years of this contract aren't great. But it's not like the Mariners gave him 7 years, so they don't have to wear it for
right.
4 or 5 years. And it's also not like they gave him $20 million a year. It's $10 million a year basically. And all JP has to do to be worth $10 million a year really is be an 80 WRC plus guy and play his usual brand of defense. And there's really no reason to think the defense is going to quickly deteriorate with JP Crawford. So overall, it's a kind of a low risk. I don't want to say super low risk, but it's not like it's a high risk, high reward type of thing. You're basically paying JP what he's worth over the next 5 years. He's probably going to get 22 to 25 million in arbitration over the next 3 years. And then you figure 2 free agent years. What's he going to get on the open market right now? $12 to $15 million a year, give or take. And so you add that up, you get roughly 5 years, roughly 5 years, somewhere between 49 and $58 million, somewhere in that range. That's what they gave him. So it's a good deal for the team. It's a good deal for the player. And it locks in kind of a veteran and fan favorite for, the foreseeable future. So really there's nothing to hate about this deal. I get the idea that maybe you should have gone year to year with JP, especially if the bat speed starts to fall off some. But the Mariners have protected themselves in the deal, and JP gets security right now. So it's a win-win.
Yep. And it's not a huge financial commitment. It's $5 million this year. It's $10 million across the board until that final year, which is going to be $11 million. So not really a big deal whatsoever. That's not going to hinder you from doing anything in the future. It really is inconsequential in terms of the dollar figure at the end of the day. The really cool thing that I took away from it, though, was that I think it just sends a message to that clubhouse. It's, hey, we will take care of you. You want to buy into what we got going on here, then we will take care of you. If you can, embody what we preach, if you embody what we want to be about, and you live that to the fullest, and you exhibit that to the rest of the clubhouse, then you're going to get rewarded. And that's exactly what they did here with JP, who, like you said, has become a clubhouse leader, kind of seemingly out of nowhere too, because it didn't really seem like JP was a guy that was a big leader in that clubhouse. He was much of a talker. He kind of seemed like a quiet guy for a while there, but now over the last year, Kyle Seeger retiring and ultimately leaving. He talked about this at the end of the last game when Seeger played his last inning in a Mariners uniform. Crawford said in the post-game interview with tears in his eyes that he wants to take on a bigger leadership role with the Mariners, and he's done that over the course of the offseason. We've seen that being exemplified now over the last few weeks here, once everything's once everyone's gotten back together here after the lockout. And it's great, like I said, he embodies what the Mariners want to be about, just like Marco Gonzalez does. Marco has long championed all the things that Andy McKay and Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander and Scott Service have implemented from the top down. And JP is just another one of those guys. So it's really cool to see that come together for JP to be rewarded for his hard work and for the year that he was able to put together last year and figuring out some things at the plate to go along with one of the best gloves at shortstop in all of baseball right now. It's really fun to see. It's really cool stuff. So who do you think is next? Winker, Frazier, Julio, someone else?
I think the highest priority guy should be Adam Frazier, believe it or not.
Okay.
Just because he's probably only looking at 2-3 year extension, probably in the 10 to 15 a year range. Not much more than what JP got, just because he's a little bit older. But also, you kind of look around and you say, well, if it's not Adam Frazier at second base next year, who is it? Somebody not in the organization. And Frazier kind of fits what the Mariners like to do at the plate. He's, high contact, gets on base a good amount. He's off to a good start despite his underwhelming traditional numbers. He's been exactly as advertised so far. A lot of bad luck for Adam Frazier to start the year. And like I said, it's more of a shorter.
By the way,
term
that
deal.
Slide that he had in the ninth inning of the comeback, awesome.
Just the most underrated play of the. They kind of glossed over it. They never showed a replay of it or anything like that. It's like,
I know,
that's
right?
Huge, because if he doesn't go for second, or if he gets thrown out, the Mariners could lose that game, because Francis single would not have scored. And then you're counting on what, Haniger or Winker to get another 2-out hit to score Frazier. So that was great. It was very underrated. They kind of brushed over it on the broadcast, which I thought was weird, but whatever. But to me, it's Frazier. Like Julio would be the most fun. Sure. It's not going to be Haniger. I don't think they're extending Haniger. Winker would be a lot of fun too. But I think Frazier might be the most important one to get done, just because the other guys, you have time. You look at like who's a free agent, a pending free agent on this team. Mitch Haniger, Adam Frazier. Mitch Haniger doesn't make sense as an extension right now. Frazier does. Frazier makes a lot of sense. So I kind of hope it's Frazier. Obviously, Julio would be the most fun. But if you're looking for a young guy, it's really tough, because most of the Mariners got guys are 0 to 3. Like, they're not even ARB eligible yet, so there's no rush.
Right. The one thing that I've seen in response to the JP Crawford extension that I want to address here, and I'll go through it quickly here, is, what does this mean for Noel V. Marte? It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing whatsoever. Noel V. Marte has completely changed his physical profile. He's a third baseman or a corner guy at this point. Like, he's not a shortstop. He's too big for it. That dude is massive. I don't know if anyone watching this has seen the pictures of him from last year, or was it 2 years ago at summer camp when they were at T-Mobile Park. Dude just beefed up. And if you look at pictures of him now, or if you watch him play down in Everett, you'll see. The dude is swole. He's not going to play shortstop. This has nothing to do with Noel V. Marte whatsoever. And you're also not going to plan around a prospect who's at least 2, maybe 3 years away.
Yep.
You're just not going to do it. Like, maybe he gets to the big league level if everything goes right, if he has some sort of Julio-esque rise over the next year, or maybe he factors into things halfway through 2023. But even then, that's not something that you plan on. That's not something that you plan for. And look, if out of nowhere they say, you know what, maybe he is a shortstop, we're going to give him a try, the JP Crawford thing still doesn't affect that at all. A lot of things could happen on that front. They could move JP to second. There's a lot of stuff that can come from that. So this is nothing to do whatsoever with Noelvi Marte, who, if I had to guess, probably going to get traded for something pretty nice at some point that's going to help the Mariners go, try to win a division or maybe even a World Series, if I had to guess. But we'll see. All right, so that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on Locked On Mariners. For Colby Patnode, I'm Ty and Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez. It's DANEGNZLZ. And Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. Also, be sure to subscribe down below. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit the notification bell. And give the video a like if you like the show. And I mean, if you watched all 35 or 36 minutes of the show, you probably did like it, because why else would you sit through all of this for 36 minutes? So give it a like if you haven't already. We'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you again for making us your first listen of the day, just like you do here every day. Now make your second listen of the day Locked On MLB, where Paul Francis Sullivan, and please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the Major League's present and past. It's free wherever you get your podcasts, just like us. So have yourself a beautiful baseball day. Let's get this series win tonight, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace.